The golden child. The scent of freshly baked lemon cake clung to the air, thick and cloying, the same recipe my mother had perfected over 25 years, one for each birthday of my sister's charmed life. The kitchen was a shrine to Lillian, as always. Hand-painted happy birthday banners draped across the cabinets, a tower of glossy wrapped presents teetering on the counter, and Mum's hands steady as she piped delicate swirls of frosting onto the cake, her lips curved in that soft, absent smile she only ever wore for her. I leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, my sweater sleeves frayed at the wrists. "Claire, can you grab the extra plates from the dining room?" Mum asked, without looking up. I swallowed the bitter taste in my mouth. Of course, even on her birthday, Lillian didn't lift a finger, but I was always there to fill in the gaps. "Sure," I said, pushing off the frame. My voice sounded hollow even to me. The dining room was no better. Dad stood by the table, adjusting the bow on a massive gift box, its silver wrapping shimmering under the chandelier. The tag read, "To our shining star." "Big celebration this year," I remarked, stacking the delicate china plates, the ones Mum only brought out for special occasions. Dad chuckled, his eyes crinkling in that proud, oblivious way. "Well, it's not every day your daughter gets engaged and turns 25. Ah, right. The engagement. The other reason today was a spectacle. Lillian, my older sister by 2 years, had always been the golden child. The kind of beautiful that made people stare in restaurants, the kind of charm that bent teachers, bosses, even our parents to her whims. She'd graduated top of her class, landed a VP position at a marketing firm by 23, and now she was marrying Ethan Hartford, heir to a fortune so vast it made our upper-middle-class upbringing look like a poverty case. And me, I was the footnote, the quiet one, the daughter who chose a modest job at a non-profit instead of clawing her way up corporate ladders. The one who got a, "That's nice, dear," when I mentioned my promotion last year while Lillian's coffee run for her boss had been treated like a corporate coup. I carried the plates back to the kitchen just as the front door burst open. "I'm home!" Lillian's voice sang through the house, followed by the sharp click, click, click of her Louis Vuitton heels. Mum abandoned the cake instantly, wiping her hands on her apron before rushing to the foyer. "Sweetheart, happy birthday!" I didn't move, just watched as they embraced, my father joining in with a booming laugh, his arms wrapping around them both like they were the only two people in the world who mattered. Lillian's eyes, crystalline blue, just like Dad's, flicked to me over Mum's shoulder. A smirk curled her perfect glossed lips. "Oh, Claire, you're here." Like it's a surprise. Like I hadn't been here for every birthday, every holiday, every moment she demanded center stage. "Wouldn't miss it," I said flatly. She laughed, tossing her sleek blonde hair over one shoulder. "Good, because I have big news about the wedding." Dad clapped his hands. "Let's hear it." Lillian took a deep breath, pressing a hand to her chest like she was about to deliver a royal decree. "So, you know how we were planning to have the wedding at the country club?" Mum nodded eagerly. "Well," she paused for effect, "we've decided to upgrade. The Hartfords have secured us a private estate in Tuscany. Vineyards, fountains, the works." Mum gasped, hands flying to her mouth. "Tuscany?" "Yes." Lillian's eyes sparkled with triumph. "It's going to be the event of the year. All of Ethan's family's contacts will be there. CEOs, diplomats, even a few minor royals." Dad whistled. "That's my girl." "But," Lillian bit her lip, a practiced look of hesitation crossing her face. "It's a bit over budget." Dad waved a hand. "Don't worry about that. We'll cover whatever you need." Lillian beamed. "Actually, I was thinking..." Her gaze slid to me, sharp as a blade. "Since Claire isn't using her inheritance yet, maybe we could borrow it." The air left my lungs in a rush. My inheritance. The one thing my grandparents had left me, a trust fund from Mum's side, meant for my future, my only safety net. Mum hesitated. "Oh, honey, that's Claire's." "It's just a loan," Lillian cut in smoothly, her voice honeyed. "Once we're settled, we'll pay her back, right, Claire?" All eyes turned to me. My fingers tightened around the plates, the edges biting into my palms. Always. Always her. Always more. Something inside me, something frayed and brittle after years of this, snapped. "You know what?" I set the plates down carefully, my voice eerily calm. Before we talk about my money, maybe we should talk about something else first. Lillian's smile faltered. What? I reached into my back pocket, my fingers brushing against the folded paper I'd been carrying for weeks, the one I'd stared at in disbelief, in rage, in vindication. Like the fact that you're not even Mum's daughter. Silence. Then, chaos. The silence that followed was suffocating. Mum's fingers trembled against the edge of the counter, her knuckles white. She opened her mouth, then closed it again as if the words had lodged themselves in her throat. Dad was the first to break. Where did you get this? His voice was low, dangerous. I didn't flinch. A lab. I sent in samples. My hair, Lillian's hairbrush, yours and Mum's from the bathroom. Lillian let out a sharp, disbelieving laugh. You stole my hairbrush? Jesus, Claire, are you obsessed with me? I ignored her, keeping my gaze locked on Mom. I needed to know why. Why her? Always her. Why she got everything. And now I know. Mom's breath hitched. Know what? That she's not yours. Lillian's smirk faltered. This is insane. She turned to Mom, her voice pitching higher. Mom, tell her she's being ridiculous. But Mom didn't answer. She just stared at the paper, her lips pressed into a thin, bloodless line. Dad snatched the report back, his jaw clenched. This proves nothing. Then take another test, I challenged. Right now, swab your cheeks, send it in, see for yourself. Lillian's eyes darted between us, her confidence cracking. You're really going to entertain this? She threw her hands up. Fine, let's do it, because this is bullshit. Mom finally looked up, her eyes glassy. Claire, why would you do this? The hurt in her voice almost made me waver. Almost. Because she was going to take my inheritance, I said quietly. And you were going to let her... Dad slammed his palm on the counter. That's enough! Lillian crossed her arms, her voice dripping with venom. You're pathetic, you always have been. You couldn't stand that I was happy, so you made up this disgusting lie. It's not a lie, Mom whispered. The room froze. Lillian's face went slack. What? Mum's shoulders sagged as if the weight of years had finally crushed her. I never thought you'd find out. My stomach dropped. She knew. Dad's face darkened. Evelyn. Mum shook her head, tears spilling over. I was going to tell you, both of you, I didn't know how. Lillian took a step back, her chest rising and falling rapidly. No, this isn't... You're lying. But Mum didn't deny it, and that was answer enough. Lillian's breath came in short, panicked bursts. Then who am I? Mom wiped her cheeks with shaking hands. Your birth mother was my sister, Rachel. The name hit me like a punch. Aunt Rachel. The woman who died in a car accident when I was a baby. The one we never talked about. Mom continued, her voice breaking. She was young, unprepared. She asked me to take you, just until she got back on her feet, but then the accident happened, and you were mine in every way that mattered. Lillian swayed, gripping the counter for balance. You lied to me my whole life? Dad reached for her, but she jerked away. Lillian, don't! Her scream was raw, guttural. You knew too? His silence was damning. Lillian let out a broken laugh, tears streaming down her face. Unbelievable! She turned to me, her eyes blazing. And you couldn't just let me have this? I should have felt triumphant. I wanted to feel triumphant, but all I felt was hollow. You were going to take what was mine, I said softly, just like you took everything else. Her face twisted. You ruined me. Then she turned and ran out of the kitchen, out of the house, the front door slamming behind her. Mum crumpled into a chair, sobbing. Dad stood frozen, his expression torn between fury and devastation. And me, I had won. So why did it feel like I'd lost everything too?
The shattered mirror. The house felt like a tomb after Lillian left. Mom hadn't moved from the kitchen chair, her fingers twisting the DNA test into a crumpled mess. Dad stood at the window, his back rigid, staring at the empty driveway where Lillian's car had been. I should have walked away. But my feet stayed rooted to the tile floor, my pulse throbbing in my throat. What have I done? Mum's voice was barely a whisper. How long have you known? I swallowed hard. Since last month. She flinched like I'd struck her, And you waited until now to drop this like a bomb? You waited 25 years to tell her the truth. The words tore out of me, raw and jagged. You let her call you Mom. You let her believe she was yours. Dad whirled around, his face stormy. She is hers. Evelyn raised her, loved her. Then why keep it a secret? My voice cracked. Why treat her like she was perfect while I was just background noise? Mum's breath hitched. That's not true, isn't it? I grabbed the framed photo on the counter, Lillian's graduation, her radiant smile front and center while I stood half-cropped at the edge. You gave her everything, and now she wanted my inheritance too, and you were just going to let her take it. A tear splashed onto the glass. I didn't know she'd ask for that. But if she had, you'd have said yes. My hands shook. Just like you always do. Silence. Then, psst. Dad's phone lit up on the counter. A notification flashed. Lillian, tell Claire she wins, but she'll wish she hadn't. Ice slid down my spine. Mum snatched the phone. What does that mean? Call her right now. Dad dialed, but it went straight to voicemail. Damn it! He grabbed his keys. I'll find her. The door slammed. The silence rushed back in, thicker now. Mom's red-rimmed eyes met mine. Was this really about the money? I opened my mouth. Ding. My phone this time. An email notification. Subject. You like secrets? Let's share one. Attached was a scanned document. My stomach dropped as I recognized the letterhead. Rosewood Psychiatric Hospital. Patient name, Claire Elizabeth Voss. Date, June 12, 2012. Diagnosis, borderline personality disorder. My breath stopped. No. That wasn't real. I'd never... Mum gasped as I turned the screen toward her. What is this? It's a lie! My voice pitched hysterically. I was never... She forged this! But Mum's face had already shut down, that familiar disappointment settling in. Oh, Claire. You believe her? I choked out. She didn't answer, and in that silence I realized Lillian hadn't just run. She'd declared war.
The leak, 7:03 a.m. Monday. My phone exploded before my alarm could go off. 3 missed calls from work. 12 texts from numbers I didn't recognize. A Facebook tag from my college roommate. Claire, is this real? I clicked the link. There it was, blown up across a private group with 800 members. PSA, my sister has BPD and is dangerously unstable. Posted by Lillian. Attached was the fake diagnosis, my middle school journal entries. How did she even get those? And, my stomach twisted, a screenshot of my private therapy notes from 2 years ago. Patient expresses resentment towards sister, describes fantasies of exposing her. The words were mine. Taken out of context. Weaponized. I scrambled upright, my fingers shaking as I dialed my boss. Claire? Miranda's voice was frosty. HR needs to see you at 9 a.m. Miranda, whatever she sent you? It wasn't just me. The entire board got an email with sensitive attachments. A pause. Bring a union rep. The call ended. I stared at my reflection in the black screen. She'd nuked my life in 12 hours. 8:17 a.m. Kitchen. The coffee machine gurgled as Mum shuffled in, her robe hanging loose. Dark circles bruised her eyes. We hadn't spoken since the explosion. Now she slid a folded newspaper across the counter. Society section. Hartford wedding postponed amid family drama. I snorted. She's playing the victim. After what she... Enough. Mum's fist hit the counter. You started this. Now fix it. Fix it? The mug burned my palm. She's the one spreading lies. Are they? Her gaze cut to me. You've always been intense, Claire. The jealousy, the outbursts. Oh my God. I laughed, sharp and broken. You actually believe her. Mum opened a drawer and threw a key onto the counter. Your father's taking her side. Legally. The key glinted. Safe deposit box #712. What's this? Rachel's things. Mum's voice cracked. See for yourself what your truth has done. 10:45 a.m. First National Bank. The journal smelled like old paper and perfume. Aunt Rachel's looping handwriting filled the pages. I flipped faster. August 12th. Evelyn won't let me visit anymore. Says it's too confusing for Lily. Then, December 24th, saw Lily at Christmas. She called Evelyn Mama. I drank a whole bottle of... The next page was torn out, my pulse hammered. Underneath the journal, a faded photo. Rachel, pregnant, face swollen from crying, flanked by Mum and a man who wasn't Dad, scrawled on the back. If anything happens to me, tell Lily the truth. The pieces clicked. Rachel never gave Lillian away. Mum took her. And now, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Found what you wanted? Ask Dad, who really drove Rachel off the road. The journal slipped from my hands. Blood in the water, 11:03 p.m., my apartment. The police report glowed on my laptop screen, its scanned pages grainy with age. Case hash 984472. Fatal single vehicle collision. Deceased, Rachel Ann Voss. Blood alcohol content, 0.08. Standard drunk driving accident. Except... My finger traced the witness statement. Silver sedan, make model unknown, seen following victim's vehicle at high speed prior to incident. And then, buried in the evidence log, item hash 12, chrome bumper fragment recovered from ditch, matches 1997 Cadillac DeVille. The exact car Dad drove back then. My throat tightened. A knock shattered the silence. I slammed the laptop shut. Who is it? Open the damn door, Claire. Lillian. 11:07 p.m. She stood in my doorway, silhouetted by the hallway light. No designer clothes tonight, just sweatpants and a messy bun. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her manicure chipped. For once, she looked human. You got my text, she said flatly. I didn't move. Did Dad kill her? Lillian barked out a laugh. Oh, now you care about the truth. She pushed past me, her perfume leaving a toxic trail. Let's trade. You retract the DNA claim. I'll tell you what really happened to Rachel. I crossed my arms. Why would you protect them? After what they... Protect them? She whirled around, her voice cracking. I'm trying to protect me. For the first time in our lives, I saw it. Real, unfiltered fear in her eyes. The ice in my veins thawed just a little. Show me yours, I'll show you mine, I murmured, nodding to my laptop. Lillian hesitated. Then she pulled out her phone and played a voicemail. Dad's voice shaking with rage. If you go to the media about Rachel, I swear to Christ, Lillian. The message cut off. My stomach dropped. When was this? Tonight, after I told him I'm done lying. She hugged herself. They've been blackmailing the Hartfords, threatening to leak their tax fraud if they call off the wedding. A hysterical laugh bubbled up. Of course, our perfect parents were con artists. I opened the laptop. Look. As Lillian scanned the report, her face went bone white. This proves nothing. A car fragment? That's circumstantial. Unless... I pulled up another file. Rachel's autopsy showed blunt force trauma to her legs before the crash, like someone ran her off the road. Lillian made a small wounded noise. In that moment, she wasn't my tormentor. She was just another girl whose life was built on lies. 11:43 p.m. We sat on my crappy IKEA couch, passing a bottle of cheap Merlot between us. I always knew something was off, Lillian whispered. The way Mum would flinch when I asked about Rachel, how Dad never let me visit her grave. The wine burned going down. They stole you. And killed her. She pressed her palms to her eyes. Oh God, I've been hugging my mother's murderer. The raw pain in her voice undid me. Without thinking, I reached for her hand. She jerked away. Don't! This doesn't make us sisters. I know. Silence stretched. Somewhere downstairs, a neighbor's TV played infomercials. Lillian finally spoke, barely audible. What do we do now? I picked up the flash drive containing all the evidence. We burn it all down. Scorched earth. 8:15 a.m., Channel 7 News Studio. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as the makeup artist dabbed powder across Lillian's cheekbones. She sat unnaturally still in the anchor chair, her fingers curled around the armrests like she might bolt at any second. I stood just off camera, clutching the flash drive like a grenade with the pin pulled. The producer counted down in our earpieces. 5 seconds to air. Lillian's gaze flicked to me. Last chance to back out? I shook my head. The red light blinked on. Good morning. I'm Lisa Cho with a Channel 7 exclusive. The anchor leaned forward. We're joined by Lillian Voss Hartford, whose society wedding cancellation made headlines last week. Lillian, you've come forward with startling allegations about your family. Lillian lifted her chin. The studio lights caught the unshed tears in her eyes, making them glisten for the cameras. Perfect. I've learned my entire life is a lie. Her voice trembled just enough. My parents, the people who raised me, stole me as a baby from my biological mother, Rachel Voss, and I have reason to believe they caused her fatal car accident. Gasps rippled through the control room. The anchor's professionally sympathetic mask slipped for half a second before she recovered. These are extraordinary claims. Do you have proof? Lillian held up the police report. This shows my father's car was at the scene of Rachel's crash, and this... She tapped her phone. A recording played through the studio speakers. Dad's voice snarling, "You'll ruin us all. That inheritance is blood money and you know it." I barely recognized him. The anchor looked like she'd swallowed a live fish. "And where is your sister in all this? Claire, isn't it?" Lillian turned to face me directly for the first time. The raw vulnerability in her expression almost made me believe her next words were real. My brave sister uncovered the truth. While I was playing perfect daughter, Claire was the only one who cared enough to dig through our family's lies. The camera swiveled toward me. Oh, you brilliant bitch. She'd just made me complicit in her narrative. 10:37 a.m. Voss family home. We found Mum in Rachel's old bedroom, a shrine we'd never been allowed to enter. She sat on the floral quilt, clutching a baby rattle, surrounded by newspaper clippings about the crash. Her hair hung in greasy strands, her silk blouse wrinkled, the perfect matriarch unravelled. "You aired our dirty laundry on television?" Her laugh was unhinged. "After everything I sacrificed." "You sacrificed?" Lillian kicked over a photo frame. Glass shattered. "You murdered my mother and called me yours." Mum didn't deny it. She just smoothed the quilt with eerie calm. "Rachel was going to take you back. She'd gotten clean, met some mechanic. I couldn't let her undo all my hard work." My stomach turned. "So you had Dad run her off the road?" "No." For the first time, real emotion cracked her voice. "I just wanted to scare her. But your father, he always took things too far." The confession hung in the air like poison gas. Lillian made a wounded animal noise. "I'm calling the police." Mum lunged for her. "You ungrateful little—" I caught her wrist mid-swing. Her pulse thrummed against my fingers, fast and frantic. For 26 years I'd been afraid of this woman. Now she just looked small. "Don't bother," I told Lillian, still holding Mum's gaze. "They're already at Dad's office. The SEC got tipped off about his offshore accounts this morning." Mum's knees buckled. Lillian's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, then smirked at me. "Hartford just reinstated the wedding. Guess scandal makes me more interesting." Of course. Even in collapse, she landed on her feet. 11:59 p.m., my apartment. The TV played muted coverage of Dad's arrest. Outside, paparazzi clustered like vultures. Lillian sipped champagne from my chipped coffee mug. "Relax, they'll get bored in a week." "You don't have to sound so pleased about it." She studied me over the rim. "You're really not coming to the wedding?" I thought of the inheritance, finally mine. Of Mum's hollow eyes when the cops led her away. Of Rachel's journal entries, still burning a hole in my desk drawer. Some of us don't get fairy tale endings, Lily. For once, she didn't argue. Just pressed a business card into my hand on her way out. "Hartford Media VP of Investigative Journalism. Blood money," she said softly. "Might as well make it mean something." The door clicked shut. Alone at last, I finally let myself cry. 1 year later, Rosewood Cemetery. The first autumn leaves crunched under my boots as I approached the newly placed headstone. Rachel Ann Voss, beloved sister, 1972 to 1998. Lillian was already there, her black designer coat fluttering in the wind. She held 2 roses, one white, one red. "You're late," she said without turning. I adjusted the strap of my bag. Had a board meeting. The non-profit had taken off faster than I'd expected. The Rachel Voss Foundation for Stolen Families didn't have Hartford Media's glitz, but our investigative team had already reunited 17 adoptees with their biological parents. Lillian finally faced me. Her cheekbones were sharper now, her smile more calculated, the perfect media mogul. "I saw your interview in the Times. And I saw your Vanity Fair spread." I nodded at the diamond bracelet glinting under her sleeve. "Third wedding present from Charles?" She ignored the jab, placing the white rose on the grave. Mum's sentence got reduced. I stiffened. I know. Good behavior? Her laugh was bitter. Turns out she's perfect at playing repentant. The wind howled through the oaks. Somewhere beyond the cemetery gates, tourists laughed on their pumpkin farm tour. Normal people with normal families. Lillian traced the engraving on the headstone. Do you think Rachel would hate us? I studied the dates. So few years, so much stolen. I think she'd be glad we stopped pretending. For a moment, the mask slipped. Lillian's breath hitched. I dream about her sometimes. She's always handing me baby pictures, but they're blank when I look. My phone buzzed. Miranda, urgent call about the Boston case. Lillian saw the screen and instantly reassembled her armor. Go ahead, the prodigal daughter has work to do. I didn't move. You kept one thing from Mum. Oh? That manipulative streak? I nudged the red rose toward the white one until their stems crossed. That's all you. For the first time in a year, she genuinely smiled. 3 p.m. Office of the District Attorney. The envelope was thicker than I expected. To be delivered upon my death. Evelyn Marie Voss, inside. 2 items. A faded ultrasound photo labeled * Rachel. 8 weeks. A handwritten note. Girls, the truth you never dug up. Rachel was pregnant again when she died. 12 weeks. Your father didn't know. Neither did the coroner. Some ghosts don't need headstones. The coffee in my stomach turned to acid. My phone lit up with Lillian's caller ID. I let it ring.